And this is another just interesting little nugget of information we have here, because they get into an argument. These people that have seen this man here day by day get into an argument of, is it really him? Well, no, it's just somebody that looks like him. Well, no, it's really him. Well, he just looks like him. And the people that kind of took the side of, no, he just looks like him, let's look into what they saw and what they had to think after what they saw. This man, after being blind all of his life, can finally see. Think about it. You haven't been able to see for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, however old this man was. And all of a sudden you open your eyes after you've washed them off, and you can see the color, you can see trees, you can see people whose voices you knew but never saw their faces. You can see the sunshine for the first time. You know what water looks like. All of a sudden, all these things just come flooding in. And I'm sure, he just was very staid and very, very proper and just went, yes, I can see now. Oh, beautiful sun. No, I am sure this guy was jumping up and down, going crazy because all of a sudden he could see. And you have a group of people that look at this man going crazy because he can suddenly see and go, nope, it's just somebody that looks like him. So they say, all right, if you really are this guy that has been blind from birth and you can now see, how did it happen? Great response from the blind man. The man called Jesus, put mud on my eyes, and told me to go wash in the pool, and I saw. And when they asked him where he said, he goes, he didn't know. And he didn't know. Jesus had left after he had washed his eyes, from what we can tell from this account. The man had never seen Jesus, didn't know what he looked like. All he had ever heard was his voice. So the man says, I don't know. And then the crowd does what the crowd of that day should do when there's a miraculous happening that claims to be from God. They took him to the religious leaders, the Pharisees, who probably in today's equivalent would be PhDs in theology or PhDs in Old Testament law. And they're the ones that would know. If this was really a miraculous thing from God, the Pharisees are going to know and they'll be able to tell. So they take the man to the Pharisees. And first off, John throws this little sentence in verse 14 that just kind of sets the tone for everything. Because Jesus healed the man on the Sabbath. Now, the Pharisees had studied the Old Testament law, and they had written down and expanded exactly what it meant to be on the Sabbath, to be the Sabbath, to not work on the Sabbath. This kind of still shows itself today. I spoke to a lady one time that went to Israel, and she was actually there during the Feast of Tabernacles, which I thought was interesting. But the hotel they stayed in had two elevators. They had a regular elevator where you push the button, you walk in, you push your floor, you ride up, you get off, you go to your hotel room. When you're ready to go home, same thing, going back down. They had another elevator that would stop on each and every floor. Doors would open, wait a few seconds, doors would close, floor number 2, stop, open, close, floor number 3, stop, open, close. And of course, the first day of riding that elevator, they decided it was probably better to ride the other one. But what they found out was as they were going down on the regular elevator one day, a Jewish lady walked onto the elevator with them. And it happened to be Sabbath. And she asked this couple, this American couple, if they would mind pushing the elevator button for her. Because being the Sabbath, she was not allowed to press the elevator button. Jesus broke 3 Sabbath laws the day he healed the blind man. Number 1, he spit. Number 2, he made mud. And number 3, he picked mud up and put it on somebody. Sorry, I'm not trying to be too graphic here. That's the last time I'll say spit. But all of us, and the Pharisees are going, if this guy cannot keep the law, if he cannot do what the law requires you to do, how can he be from God? And another group of Pharisees, once again, we see a group split over Jesus. And another group of Pharisees go, yeah, but somebody that's from the devil couldn't heal. There's no way that if he was not of God, that this man born blind, which, as the Scripture says, had never happened before, he couldn't do it. So they're in the midst of this theological discussion between the Pharisees, and to kind of break the tie, so to speak, they asked the poor blind man, what do you think? I mean, here's the most educated people of the day. looking around, having a theological discussion about this guy, and the person they go to for his opinion to kind of break the tie is the poor blind beggar. And the beggar, not fully knowing who Jesus is, says, I think he's a prophet.